So I put up a video recently with my top 5 picks for Storm League, which you can check out in the descriptions. And today we have a specific log and guide on Muradin. When it comes to Muradin, I have to say he's basically my favorite tank in the entire game. He's great, he's a fat little dwarf, he got a hammer and an axe, which is completely overpowered in my opinion. And overall, best thing about it is he just doesn't die. So you can be really annoying. You can deal quite a bit of damage against heroes, that's okay, at least you can't kill a swishy, or at least make sure they don't kill anybody and don't get any damage out. And opponents usually waste a shit ton of ultimates on you, which is amazing because they don't hit your team with it, they hit you, you don't die. Perfect situation as a tank. In addition, what you can do obviously, and it's one of his strongest parts, is just his Q. It's a storm bolt, it's a stun. You can use it for setups, to save people, trap people. You can do a lot with this little stun here, and as soon as you manage to complete the quest, which is your highest priority by far, it actually stuns 2 people, which is almost a bit overpowered in my opinion. When it comes to build, I think there's only one real build again that I go every time. It has some minor decisions on it, but it doesn't change the overall build. So the idea is always go Perfect Storm. This third wind thing here is kind of nice, but honestly, if you get use out of it, you're probably playing wrong anyway, because you shouldn't stay that long somewhere to actually for this to have an effect. If fights take that long where you actually jump out, this gives you a lot of healing and you come quickly back in after taking damage, then the entire thing went bad anyway, and you rather make sure your Qs are hitting as hard as possible so the fight is over quicker. So 100% of the time take Perfect Storm. Here, minor decision, I say 99% of the time take Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer deals more damage to minions, so you can actually somehow do camp sometimes. But that's not the important part. The important part is that your baseline quest to get the double stun, if you hit a hero, it gets doubled. So you get 2 stacks out of it, and that's way too valuable to give up. There are possible chances of, okay, maybe take this one here for even more attack speed slow against very specific combinations of opponents, but even there I think it's very questionable, and I would go Sledgehammer basically 99% of the time. Here's your second minor choice. Give him the axe. Great for DPS. If you're actually lacking DPS and you think you need to deal more damage to be a more offensive tank, you can go for this one. I almost always go for Skullcracker. It deals more damage on your third basic attack, and it has this tiny mini stun. And the amount of times where I accidentally stunned some kind of ultimates, movement abilities, and other things is incredible. So I highly recommend to go Skullcracker until you have or unless you have a very specific reason to go give them the axe. In terms of ultimates, there are builds and ways to make use of Haymaker. I go Avatar 100% of the games. I never pick Haymaker. I find it weird. I find it very risky and very wombo combi. In case this works, then we win. Avatar, you always get value out of it. You get so tanky. It's perfect. Here again, minor choice if you want. You could go for the heal, but I almost always go for Bronzebeard Rage. The heal is kinda odd. I mean, yes, it is 5% of his maximum health, and as soon as you have your ultimate on, that actually increases your maximum health. So this can be a lot of healing if you hit a lot of heroes with it. If they are really clumped and they are maybe all jumping on some target on you, or who knows, maybe this can be useful. I almost always got Bronzebeard Rage. Here 16, 100% of the time, Stoneform. Stoneform in combination with your ultimate is completely overpowered and heals you for so much. And here I don't see any other way than Rewind. Rewind in combination with having a double stun is also really, it's overpowered. I think it's overpowered. I, in my opinion, think overall Muradin is too strong the way he is right now. But apparently Blizzard doesn't agree, so that's fine for me. He has his weaknesses, don't get me wrong. But overall, with Rewind on level 20, this is amazing. You can basically jump into something, slow them, stun them maybe, and get this all back and do it again. Stun him again, give him another slow, and then still jump out. So that's incredibly overpowered. So again, overall the build I recommend to go 99% of the time. You can just blindly go it against everything, in my opinion. Is Perfect Storm, Sledgehammer, Skullcracker, your Avatar, Bronzebeard, Rage, Stoneform, and Rewind. There's a bit of an argument in case there is percentage damage, like kill like half of your health or something, to go Haymaker instead of Avatar, because your increased health doesn't matter against like a Martel or something. You could experiment with that, or just try to counter that hero in some other way. When it comes to fighting with Muradin, I'm going to show you now the combination for like a level 20, what I would do in case this is in some way a high priority target for me. And I do have Rewind. This is important. This works only if you have Rewind. If you don't ever jump into any opponent unless you're 100% sure you get a kill with it, and you will get back out, because this is your escape. This is what makes you so tanky and so easy in terms of surviving. So as soon as you have Rewind, you can do the full combo of jumping at them, stun, slow them, hit them a few times, Rewind, stun, and yeah, after the stun runs out, go Thunderclap, and then you can go back out. So overall, just in case this was a bit quick, and I'm not sure if I actually pressed it correctly, the idea is you close the gap with Dwarf Toss, then you either stun them right away, or go for Thunderclap first to slow them a bit in case you don't need to stun them instantly. Depends a bit on what you jump on. If they have an easy escape, then might be better to stun them first and get this in, just because you're going to reset it anyway. It is slow, and attack speed slow is not going to do anything because they will be stunned. So this is kind of secondary. You don't have to use it in that moment, but you can. So get in, get these two off, press your Rewind, stun him again at the end of the duration. Yeah, so there's tiny bit of overlap. Wait until the stun is almost ran out, and press Thunderclap again, so they get out of the stun, but they have reduced movement speed and reduced attack speed while they get out of it, and your team can do stuff with that. If you're talking about the ultimate or usage of ultimate, I'm gonna take a lot of damage now, because the important thing is you want to get kinda low in terms of health, maybe let's say half health, then use your ultimate, and then use second wind. Never use second wind before you use your ultimate, because this is based on your maximum health. So that's kind of the idea. So if you go in here now, let's say we're hitting this turret, and they're obviously hitting us, yada yada yada. Oh, we're getting low. No, they're all hitting us. You press your ultimate and you press Stoneform. This heal here is so much. It's incredible. And we can still tank this like forever, and then like, oh no, okay, like our healing is kind of out now, we're getting hit, and then you can still jump out. It's probably should jump out a bit earlier than that, but that's the general idea. More of an issue for Muradin is, even if you have this level 16 talent here, don't get fooled, wave clear is still really bad. So I reset Muradin to level 13 now, which is this talent. It's not 16, it's 13. And let's get us a minion in here. Compared to other characters I recommend, this one has sadly the least clear speed. So even if you get in here, you use your Q and you start hitting on stuff, it's just really bad. It takes forever, and you typically don't really want to use your Q for wave clear, because there might be somebody coming that you want to stun or get an opportunity on. So the wave clear is really not that great on Muradin. The same with camps. Even, I mean, we are on a high level now, but if you go to this camp here, where I would definitely use the Q and also use the attack speed slow, it takes a long time to do a camp. Like a really long time to do a camp. Okay, we got our cooldowns back. Let's stun this guy again. Your Sledgehammer really helps with that. If you don't have that talent, like the second thing you choose here, this one, it takes even longer because you cannot use your Q. Same if you go over here. I'm not gonna do this fully because it takes so long. If you like hit these guys here and then even try to minimize damage a bit, you just don't have much damage. It's terrible. It takes you forever to do a camp. You might lose the game until the camp is done. So here Sledgehammer is like the majority of the damage actually, and this burning on level 13 here is not helping that much. It's great against heroes. Overall, I think it's good because especially if you hit a hero, this gets increased, but you're not hitting heroes here. So wave clear and doing camps, can you die now, is absolutely bad with Muradin, and you need help from some kind of DPS in your team to make this work. In terms of playstyle in your actual games, I believe you have two options with Muradin. You can either be rather aggressive or rather passive. I like both a lot. It just really depends on the team combination and what you need. Let's say a good job for Muradin on the offensive side is you go in and you annoy some kind of DPS of your opponents, or a healer possibly, but typically more like a DPS, maybe a Li Ming for example, maybe a Jaina. They can't really kill you that easily, and you just go into their face. Important is, with, again, I said it earlier, but don't dwarf toss towards them unless you're absolutely sure you're gonna be fine. This is a 10-second cooldown. If they turn on you and you don't have dwarf toss, and more experienced player will do that, as soon as they see a Muradin that offensively jumps in, the likelihood of them turning on you is really high. Maybe if you already have the second wind talent here, like you're level 16, you could risk it. You say, okay, I jump in, I pop my avatar, they turn on me, I pop my second wind as well, and I'm absolutely sure I will survive that for at least 10 seconds. That's fine. But even then, I'd say I wouldn't really do it unless I really have to. It's typically way easier to just like we have an over here, like your target, and the enemy team is all here. You can usually just walk up to them, maybe slow here in between them and just walk up to this target and stun it. Or from as soon as you get a chance, like stun into it. Because you're not taking that much damage and people try not to hit you, especially if your team is close, they are trying to fight here, they kind of ignore you because you're a big ass tank, it's not worth hitting you, you're not hurting anyone at that moment. So typically you can just walk towards your target and be fine. The second part, which would be a playstyle of more defensive, is purely protecting anybody on your team. Maybe they have a lot of divers, maybe they have a butcher, things like that really wreck your backline and wreck your damage dealers so they can't do anything. It's perfectly fine as Muradin to, yes, stand a bit in the front and wobble around, maybe get a stun in or two, but overall not going for any specific target or opponent here, but rather waiting for them to go on your damage dealers and walk back to them and help out with stuns, slows, blocking their movement. You're pretty big, so you can kind of get in between of them and help out your team that way. Sometimes in games, I even try both because I'm not sure entirely how the team fights will go, and I try to observe what's happening and then change my playstyle accordingly and just make sure, for example, a Reyna in our team is surviving because right now he gets wrecked by whatever other character. I just make sure this doesn't happen anymore, and all of a sudden we have a Reyna DPS which is completely free to deal damage, and we win the team fights. As said, he's one of my favorite heroes, and this is part of my video about the 5 top picks for low-level Storm League, for ranking up, for improving, for playing very consistent. You can find the link in the description. Bit of a quick guide. If you want to see some more gameplay, just have a look at my channel. There are a bunch of videos, and I know there for a fact there's at least one with Muradin where I show the gameplay is already up. So have a look around there. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.